we had another really, really bad thunderstorm and lightning storm and rainstorm. So it's clear now. We should be good.
Okay.
But I think it headed your way. After it was
We haven't seen anything. It's been crazy. It's
Oh,
been
maybe?
like raining over your way, and then it gets east of us, and it rains again. So.
It was very wet in Ohio.
Yeah, my grass is dry now. It should need some rain.
This is my first defense in Zoom. I'm very excited, especially because I upgraded to a new MacBook Air, and it came with Catalina, and it has no use for 32-bit architecture. So
I know.
I can't even get it. It won't even allow me to download Adobe Add-in to the machine.
Yeah,
so
you would have to.
I've still got my old Mac, but
okay.
so our defense on Tuesday is going to be in Adobe. I'm like, who does that? Just kidding.
Yeah. No, I run Windows off my Mac, so I can run it that way still. But I have that same issue.
I know there are some people who do that.
I have a couple apps that I just can't get for Mac that I need, so that's how I do it. And
seems so perverse, Chuck.
I know it's awful doing it, but it at least came in handy there because I forgot all about that when I upgraded. And first chat, I was like, "What do you mean I can't log into this? What?"
Yeah. No, I was anticipating a switch to Zoom. I didn't know that anybody was going to schedule Adobe defenses anymore. But I guess the word hasn't gotten out everywhere.
I had one last week in Connect, and there was a lot of errors with it, just technical issues, and I said, forget it. We have to switch over.
I do have to say, I've been quite surprised. Over the last few days, I've had Zoom crashes. 2 of them. Gotten thrown out of different things I was in.
Interesting.
So I don't know what that's about. If it happens today, no, I'm just kidding. But
that's
if it happens
generally
again,
a bandwidth issue or overload on their servers. That's the 2 things.
Well, I figured it was probably them, Rick, actually. At least on one of the occasions, because of how busy they are all the time.
When you think about how this has come down and how many people have suddenly had to do all this, it's amazing the internet has upheld that way it has.
Oh, I know. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I thought it was going to go completely bonkers. It hasn't been too bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm learning. I told Karen I'll give her an outline of what works with this and what doesn't. And,
okay, good.
The one thing that we're missing here that I mentioned to her today was that we need, like we did the breakout rooms in Symposium, we need access to that. They have to click a button on their side to allow us to do that. And then we can actually have a breakout discussion about the defense. Because right now there's no way to do that other than a private chat, which is okay, but you can't talk, you just have to write. So
Right.
Or we could actually just break into another room and talk real quick. So but other than that, it's been
I hadn't thought about that either. That's a really good thing to remember.
So
It's actually sunny outside my window right now. That's an odd thing for Columbus, Ohio. Sun. Go figure. Chuck, do you have any preference for us to have video on or off?
I've been leaving mine off this week.
Okay.
Partly just
I'll do that until
different parts of the room, but I don't really have a preference.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and stay off until it's time for discussion, which I'm looking forward to.
Gail, since we're a couple minutes, why don't you go ahead and put your PowerPoint up? We can get that.
Yes.
I didn't hear what you said there, Gail.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I couldn't tell what you said. But, okay. That looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Jeff.
Yep. All right.
Dr. Cost, if you'll just tell me when to start, because I can't see the
Yep.
time anymore.
Yeah, no, Paul. The introductions here in a moment. Dr. Butler, are you good to go? So make sure he's set before we.
Oh, yep, I'm here. Sorry, speaking.
No, you're fine. All right.
I had actually said lots of great things, but realized I was on mute. So.
Yeah, that happens a lot on this platform.
You're gonna have to repeat them, Jeff.
All right. Well, I guess we can get started then.
Okay.
All right. So, welcome everybody to Gail's Defense. Last student of the week here, and last one for this particular cohort. So, really excited to hear this presentation. This was a wonderful study that has really come together over the last couple of months here. So, Gail will give you about 30 minutes to present your findings and methodologies, followed by some questions from the committee, and if we have some time, maybe some of the other people here. And then the rest of us, the committee, will confer a little bit, and we'll get back to you. So if you need anything, let me know. Other than that, I'm going to mute myself, so you have the floor.
Hello and welcome to my defense. My name is Gail Shoffey. I'm a doctoral candidate in computer science. The name of my dissertation is An Inquiry into Secure Programming Behavior Demonstrated by Some Southeastern Pennsylvania Programmers, a Hermeneutic Phenomenological Study. Open up and learn more what it's like to live in the world of security-minded programmers. The topic of secure programming is of current interest writ large. I'll be going over the problem, purpose and significance, research question, conceptual framework, research method and design, population and sampling, instrumentation, data collection, data analysis, findings, limitations, conclusions, and implications. The demand for qualified cybersecurity workforce personnel will extend to critical levels expected to reach 3.5 million by 2021. Seeking more qualified professionals to protect our digitized lives will be one of the more significant challenges our economy will confront over the next 20 years. The introduction of cybersecurity breaches through vulnerabilities programmed into the system application code is becoming an outstanding crisis. The problem addressed in this study is the lack of application programmers who write secure software application code. This study uncovers the etiology of some Southeastern Pennsylvania software application programmers who took the time and effort to ensure the code was secure. What makes some programmers write secure code while others do not? We're going to find out. The purpose of this qualitative hermeneutic phenomenological study is to explore the lived experience of Southeastern Pennsylvania software application programmers and their secure pathway decisions in software development. Discover how to influence software programmers to write secure software applications. The impact that computer science may have due to this research might be that many more application programmers will be able to incorporate application security into every aspect of the secure software development lifecycle. What is the lived experience that makes some Southeastern Pennsylvania software application programmers take the time and effort to ensure the code is secure? The crux of this study is in discovering the catalyst to the display of secure programming behavior. The nature and structure of lived experience locked away in memory can become lasting information through the exegesis of this study. Choosing the secure pathway is the phenomenon. The lived experience that a human being has may define their current behavior. Tapping into experiences can show why some people chose to put security first. The conceptual framework. The framework is bound by how to write secure code. Informants must have 5 years' experience writing secure code. This study sought to understand how the phenomenon sheltered in the informant's memory answers this question. Once the locked information was released, it was pursued to answer the question through the hermeneutic circle of the phenomenon as depicted in the slide. The study results are contingent on the researcher's perception of the defined data. Perception is a combination of descriptive and interpretive lenses. The life world is the intersection of the descriptive and interpretive, creating perception. The center of the Venn diagram is ontology, or what there is to know. What is still to be identified from the informant is the epistemology, or what can be known. The research method chosen for this study was a qualitative hermeneutic phenomenological design. Hermeneutic phenomenology is the study on how informants interpret their lives and make meaning of their experiences. Phenomenology is the study on how life world presents itself. The purpose of hermeneutics is to find a shared meaning in texts. The hermeneutic phenomenological research seeks to answer the dichotomy between language and the individual user of the language. The study's objective was to see the life world experience, that is the noumena, as part of the significant whole, the hermeneutic circle, from external and internal experiences. The reason for uncovering these invariances is to have an eidetic structure from which to reify conceptual themes for the organization. A population is the overall collection of people who will be the focus of the study. The population identified in the research question are senior software application programmers who have successfully deployed secure software application at a suburban Philadelphia, Pennsylvania organization. The population was approximately 100 programmers. The sampling method was non-probabilistic purposive sampling. The sampling procedure was purposive because informants had to be in specific categories, and select individuals may have essential perspectives. Therefore, their involvement needs to be ensured. Final sample size, 14 informants. Due to the informant's seniority level, 14 informants would have enough life world experience to describe the phenomenon for an extensive ideographic and nomothetic analysis. The instrumentation included me, an iPhone, an iPad, and a Memos app. For dependability, I followed the interview protocol verbatim. For credibility, I confirmed any ambiguities before the informant even left the room. For confirmability, I had to bridle. To bridle is a researcher's ability to focus on becoming familiar with his or her own judgment so they do not compromise watching a phenomenon brought into being. And transferability. Transferability is the extent to which the finding can be useful to the greater population. To create transferability, I include a few specific details such as setting. So in order to repeat this, you'd have to have all the artifacts of my dissertation. The number of informants is 14. The number of open-ended unstructured interview questions is 10. Again, the hardware was iPhone X Max and iPad Pro. The software was voice memos, and the procedure was the research protocol. Face-to-face interviews are the preferred technique of qualitative data collecting using semi-structured interview questions. The interview is an interrogation looking into the most profound situations for symbolic communication. The interview questions were separated by time frame but linked by common thread to the research question. Questions 1 to 3 concerned with the programmer's past with secure application programming. Then questions 4 to 7 were about his or her current state. And finally, questions 8 to 10 were in respect to his or her opinions on the needs and wants within the future of secure coding practices. Data analysis. I used qualitative phenomenological hermeneutics. To analyze the transcripts, I used Max QDA software 2020. For the procedure, I did 2 rounds of coding. The ideographic first cycle coding produced a structural description. The hermeneutic nomothetic second cycle analysis constructed themes. The ideographic. The study went through the first cycle of its foundational ideographic coding stage to process the results. Many exemplars of hermeneutic research gloss over the ideographic stage because of the search for implications beyond the individual case. Each informant's interview is code-weaved by adding sentences or phrases incorporating the key word or words used to answer each question. When I was code-weaving the informant structures, I was able to capture the personalities. Reading through the informant structures, the essence of the informant seemed to come through. The second cycle, the nomothetic analysis, will consume this foundational ideographic data. Nomothetic. The second cycle coding requires the researcher to pass through the transcripts again, but this time searching for text that seems essential and accounting for why it's significant. As different avenues of meaning present themselves, the analysis moves to an interpretive level. From what we know and how focused we are in the present, we use intentionality. The intentionality could be defined as ascertaining the lived experience through reflection and existing professional and experiential knowledge. Our different life roadmaps bring us different types of knowledge. This cycle concentrated on the development of emerging themes. Training. The biggest theme was training. According to this research, there's insufficient formal training on secure programming languages in the current educational system. Almost half the informants did not learn about secure coding practices until their first job or later. I'm going to provide some quotes here. An explicit example of insufficient formal training is not part of the course curriculum, or missing the curriculum of learning a programming language. And implicit examples are first time was when I was working for a startup, or about 7 or 8 months after I became a developer. Leadership. Leadership need to support secure programming behaviors within the software development pillar. Leadership should be as clear and as transparent as possible in their security communications to their employees. A concerted effort should be made to communicate as granularly as possible. One informant stated, "I had to change the way I think about security." Another informant identified, if the top guys talk about security, then it's contagious. Suitability. The term suitability refers directly to the observation that some leaders are not suited to oversee the development of secure software. All informants wanted or needed help, either for themselves or their teams, without exception. Informants made statements such as, "It's overwhelming," "ignorance," "additional work," "cannot think of anything positive to say about overseeing team members delivering secure code." One informant said, "Worry about the data breach maybe 5 months from now, or maybe never." Noteworthy, within the themes, there were 2 noteworthy items. Shift left. The study findings have shown the software security must be implemented from the beginning of the software development lifecycle. An explicit example is incorporating right from the beginning. An implicit example is security is not just an afterthought. Refactoring. Refactoring is a disciplined technique for restructuring an existing body of code, altering its internal structure without changing its external behavior. Explicit. Spending more on infrastructure to support the security to meet the current market challenges, or the implicit, improve the existing one, or shared. Individual skills and abilities greatly influence this study. It is with the alertness of my own professional and life world experiential knowledge that the abstraction of the data in this study may be different for every interpreter. The researcher must consciously bridle or become familiar with personal judgments so the researcher does not compromise openness to the phenomena. The volume of data. The volume of data is an average of 7,000 words per interview transcript made the interpretation and analysis time-consuming. An example is I had 30 pages of transcript. I had to be able to extract only the answer and code weave them together, yet keep the integrity of the informant's intents clear and distinct, pared down to 1.5 pages to 2 pages. This is code weaving. Informant bias. Informant recollections may have been influenced by their bias, and in some cases the temptation is to provide socially acceptable answers. Of note, many informants spoke English as a second language, further complicating the interpretation of the transcripts. Fortunately, I'm very familiar with the dialect, so I didn't have too much trouble at all understanding them in person, and anytime I had any issue or any ambiguity, I made sure to clarify on tape. The results from this study present the experiences of 14 informants using a qualitative hermeneutic phenomenological design where the research quest was accomplished through open-ended, semi-structured interview questions and then coded into descriptive responses and organized into categories or themes. This quality research investigated the lived experiences of programmers and provided insight into secure programming behaviors using hermeneutics. The hermeneutic circle is a cyclical and reflective process whereby the researcher reviews the transcript data iteratively. When using hermeneutics, interpretation external to the text yields more meaning and understanding. The problem addressed in this study is the lack of application programmers who write secure software application code. Train programmers. According to this research, insufficient formal training on secure programming languages in the current educational system. The broader scope of the solution would be to integrate the security structures of programming languages into the software development curriculums. Within a narrower scope, an organizational implementation, it may be advantageous for the enterprise to start an educational program for new and current employees. The organizational training program could be tailored to to the specific corporate programming language and relevant software security development structures. Training can be a solution that is beneficial to both the organization and the individual. The training addresses the source of the problem by teaching the programmers and improving their coding skills and developing secure software solutions for the organization. This study proposes a training platform for programmers to learn how to code securely in the company's software language of choice. A chief learning office could customize learning solutions for the various organizational pillars to improve all employees' technical and soft skills. Increased leadership communications. The culture of the organization needs to adopt a security-first stance. Leadership support is providing access to technical resources, tools, and people who are subject matter experts in secure programming. Discussions with employees about secure programming should involve some historic vulnerabilities and attacks. And screen for suitability. During the study, the data revealed that 20% of team leads are not suited or required assistance in the performance of their duties because they lack focus or interest in security. The shift left. The study findings have shown that software security must be implemented from the beginning of the software development life cycle. A shift left means moving security left on the timeline from the development phase to the planning phase. Incorporating the security into the design would further mitigate the issue of placing all the security programming responsibility on the programmer. Non-functional security requirements should be mandatory. Refactoring. The topic of refactoring the legacy application resurfaced multiple times. Multiple informants established that the legacy software application code possibly contains vulnerabilities due to advances within the programming language. This is legacy code. Organizational custom software needs to be updated when new types of vulnerabilities are identified. One method of assessing existing code base is to hire ethical or white hat hackers as an offensive approach to verify the software is built securely. The study abstracted from secure programming and looked into what events transpired in the lives of some Southeastern Pennsylvania programmers who displayed secure programming behaviors. The theory is the more that programmers get domain-specific training in secure software development, the fewer vulnerabilities will be created. This study's practical implications are that programmers should be educated in the organization's application language and its detailed security structures. Programmers need to be taught at a minimum the hiring organization's domain-specific programming language security structures. Leadership to institute mandatory non-functional security requirements. Leadership should call for non-functional security requirements to be mandatory. This is a huge issue, and the burden needs to be shared. The implications for leadership include a commitment to communicate and provide support for tools and training. Leaders need to promote all aspects of cybersecurity as an integral part of the organization's core value and culture. The organization's practical the study's practical implications are that programmers should be educated in the organization's application language, specifically in its detailed security structures. Insight into secure programming's etiology. With our digital welfare on the line, broadening our methodologies should include qualitative phenomenological hermeneutics because the problem is still out there. This study has shown examples of thinking from secure programmers, and the answer is coming from them. This study is giving substance from abstraction. The study consisted of 14 experienced programmers who had written secure code. Action research could be applied at the same organization that implements a training platform to, at a minimum, teach organizational security structures and best practices. Somebody who comes in has to learn it from somewhere, so it should be in a controlled knowledge distribution setting or a training platform. Or action research could follow multiple organizations focused on developing enterprise-level systems and implementing a secure software training program. A quantitative study could demonstrate multiple variables from within the study. For example, what's the percentage of programmers who are taught to write secure code before entering the workforce? How much effort does a programmer put into incorporating security? How many programmers agree that their organization supports secure programming behavior? This study synthesizes the lived experience of 14 informants to produce results informed through phenomenological hermeneutics. The same study can be used to investigate in a different location. Would the outcome differ from this study when using the same questions, therefore making the results of this study generalizable? Does training employees result in higher secure productivity? Other methodologies could also be applied in a qualitative study. The same method and methodology can provide insight into the relationship between software development pillar and the enterprise cybersecurity team. Or the sample population focuses on senior management leaders responsible for developing secure code. Hermeneutics is a recommended methodology for future research in computer science. Training programmers is a short-term outlay for an increase in the long-term return on investment. The unifying explanation that characterizes most of the data answering the research question is that it will take an organization making a straightforward investment into training to ensure they have software programmers proficient in domain-specific secure software development principles and best practices. For dissemination, I do expect journals and magazine publications. I'm not really sure about what steps I may be taking next because I'm hoping that some opportunities will present themselves. One person has already expressed interest in a collaboration. Future research, I'm open to do more studies. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gail. Great job. This time I'll open it up to the committee for questions. Dr. Burrington, would you like to start?
Okay, I think I'm going to leave my video off if that's okay, unless you prefer me to turn it on, but hopefully you can still hear me.
That's fine.
Okay. Gail, I was so impressed when I read this dissertation. I thought from a methodological perspective, you did one of the best applications of phenomenological methodologies that I've seen in dissertation land before. So I just, I want to congratulate you on the dedication that it took to dig deeply into people like Van Manen and Bagel in particular, and to really understand what they're talking about and to learn how to apply it, to do a phenomenological study that had a great deal of depth. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say to you. I was just, it was an enjoyable topic to read, but from a methodological perspective, I just thought you did such a good job that I really wanted to congratulate you for that. And one of the things that really intrigued me the most about your dissertation was the approach that you took to the interviews. And so I was hoping that you could maybe talk to us a little bit more about some of the decisions that you made about how to set that up. So one of the things I'm curious about is you had a protocol and you worked through that, but would you say that perhaps your interviews ended up with at least some of the participants being more like a conversation where both you and the participant or participants together sort of collaborated or contributed to what emerged in the data? What's your perspective on what it was like doing those interviews?
I have to say that the interview was not a conversation. because I was concentrating on being a sponge and not only paying attention to what was being said, but I was paying attention, using my intentionality and paying attention to the body language, the intonation, the surrounding atmosphere, and the contribution that I may have had to it would be when I was doing the analysis.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that, because I'm always interested in what it's like. You know, sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall or a mouse on the corner listening to researchers interview their participants, because I think there's so much we can learn by finding out from other people how they've done that process. So really the only other thing I wanted to ask you to comment on is a question that I tend to ask in a lot of defenses, and that is sort of to ask you in terms of being reflective for a moment. You know, going through the doctoral program is a really long process, and going through the dissertation journey component of that process is in and of itself a kind of a unique endeavor. So I'd like to have you tell us a little bit about what some of the ways are that you grew and developed as a researcher as you went through your whole dissertation process.
Yes. When I went through when I went through this research, I learned a lot. I felt like a 5-year-old learning to ride a bicycle. I just learned how to do research, and I just want to keep on working. It's fun. I've learned a lot. Personally, I learned also because about 1.5 years ago, I started learning emotional intelligence, because I have autism, and the problem I have is mostly with social. So I studied that, and because of my studying that and having this research to do, I was able to go and interview 14 people with authority and confidence, and so I practiced my EQ, and finally I found out that I have value and that I can contribute to academia.
Thank you. I think you will. I'm not doubtful about that at all. That concludes my questions, Dr. Cost.
Well, thank you. Dr. Butler.
Okay, hi Gail. I actually want to echo some of Dr. Burrington's compliments. I really enjoyed reading the dissertation, and in fact, I think I was really excited to see that you have plans to try to publish, because I think you found a legitimate gap particularly in the academia world. Because I just spent 10 years as a computer engineering department head. When I first read your dissertation, I'm like, no way, we have to have some requirements for secure programming because we do it. It turns out that I went back, looked at all the accrediting stuff, and in fact, I've made a note to myself, I need to talk to some of the leaders on particularly on the ABET side, but I think we have a hole in our requirements it really is based off of reading your research. So I compliment you on finding what I think is a very significant issue that we need to address. Just a couple of questions. And so one on a very pragmatic side, if you were to be hired to lead a software development team and you had to do secure programming, and what would be some of your top priorities to try to get your team able to code secure programming based off of your research? What do you think maybe are just like the top 1 or 2 things that you could do to elevate the secure programming capability of your team?
Well, definitely it has to start with training. And what I mean by training is in when you hire new people, or even the existing people could benefit from this. If I were hired, I'd make sure everybody has this, is that you have domain specific security structures. Like you might have core code or something that gets called through the enterprise. And I would like to teach them how to use the security structures that we have. Every company has their own secure code, and I'd make sure that they learned it not on the fly, but with intent. So I teach them. Also, what worked for me when I led a team before was every other week or bi-weekly, I would have team sessions. You would call them like maybe user groups, internal user groups, where I'd teach something interesting for the first half hour and then brainstorm for the second half hour. Now, I would brainstorm on anybody's issues that they wanted to bring to the team so that we could do it as a team and solve the problems. Otherwise, if nobody had any issue, to do some practical work on whatever they've learned. And also, I think that leadership needs to treat security like their marketing. And they need to market security. They need to put security posters up in the work environment. They need to create a newsletter. They need to create some maybe some fun things that have got to do with security. But security has to become part of the culture.
Great, I really appreciate that. I really like those recommendations, especially that second one with pulling the, I guess the one that you did yourself, pulling the group together. That shows that the team lead is fully invested. Last question, and it's really an opinion question, is one motivator for many of these software disciplines are certifications. Like CompTIA, Security Plus, Network. Do you think that maybe employers requiring a secure programming type certification, do you think that might help incentivize people to go get the training before they go get on the job?
I don't think at this point requiring it would be a good idea, but I think offering it would be a good idea, like to move forward. Like the people in the positions now, you can't say you need this, but if they're already in the position, but if they want to move up in the company, getting certain certifications would be good. I think that offering them a financial incentive or a job incentive, like moving forward in their job, would be a good idea. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think that if I were back in a hiring position, that would definitely be something I'd be looking for, particularly after reading your dissertation, is I would be looking for formal training beforehand, and I would certainly be incentivizing my folks to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's all of the questions I have. Great job.
All right, thank you. I just have one question for you, and that's it. So where do you go from here? Spent some time in school, you took a break, you came back and finished this, you did an amazing job with this, but so where do you go from here with this? You have free time now after this,
I'm hoping that opportunities may knock on my door. I don't know. I'd like to do something with the Autism Society and show that people with autism can get a doctorate. I'd like to be a role model. I wouldn't mind speaking. I wouldn't mind working on. I thought about while I'm doing this dissertation was possibly starting a business. As a digital life coach, instead of a life coach, but a digital life coach. Anything on the internet that you want to get done, like go back to school, I can help you do it. I think there might be a niche for that out there.
Makes sense. No, I mean, you're definitely a role model for this. You've been an outstanding student throughout this entire
4.0.
process. It's been so much fun working with you on this. It really has. So, so everybody in the committee agrees. You've passed. There's no modifications that are needed. Congratulations, Dr. Shoffey.
Congratulations, Dr. Shoffey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Like I said, just amazing job. We'll work on the next steps. We'll get the signature pages and all that taken care of. I'll try to do that this afternoon. If not, it'll be first thing on Monday for you, and we'll get that taken care of. Is there any other comments from anybody, either committee members or otherwise, before we
This is
wrap up?
This is Dr. Livingood. I met Gail probably in 2000 and trying to remember.
13.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
2013, sir.
2013.
Yes, October.
Yep. And it's been a long process, but you know what? Sometimes the best doctoral dissertations take time, and I think that's very evident in this one.
Thank you.
That's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody has a safe and enjoyable weekend. And once again, Gail, congratulations. Go out and celebrate.
Wow.
You made it.
Wow, thank you so much.
This is Bob Crudup. I'm Gail's mentor. Yeah. So proud of you.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Gail, you must have a loyal following. I'm looking. I've never seen 17 people dial in for for a dissertation. So you've got quite the following and fan club. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I think that is a record. I think you're right, Dr. Butler. Yeah, we'll be in touch about next steps, but we'll work on getting this into ProQuest next week and we'll go from there. So
Thank you.
everybody enjoy your weekend and take care. Thank you for attending.
It was great fun. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Gail, I'll get an email from Zoom with the link sometime this afternoon, maybe. I didn't get one of them, which sort of concerned me a little bit, but the other ones have been going through. So I will send you the link when we have it.
Okay.
Like I said, I'll work on the paperwork. You know, I'll do it right now. It's not that long to take. Doesn't take that long. And we'll go from there. But you're in good shape.
What do I need to do next? Do I just
So-
wait?
Yeah, so the next part's pretty simple. We're, if you go back on the Doctoral Resource Center, you can look at the flow chart, and they have the procedures for ProQuest
Okay.
for getting everything
Okay.
ready to go. So we're going to work on your signature page. You'll turn your dissertation into a PDF.
Oh, wow.
And follow
508
as
compliant PDF.
Robert mentioned in class, do it as an export and all your bookmarks will stay in. I didn't know that. I learned something there. And then we'll give you the signature page to put into that PDF as a PDF as well.
Yes.
And then you'll submit that to the library and they will take care of that for you. So, okay.
Thank
But we'll
you.
be in touch about that. If you have any questions, let me know, but you should be in pretty good shape there. So
Okay.
I'll get everything submitted here before the end of the day and go from there.
Okay.
Congratulations, Gail.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. If you guys want to stay and talk a little bit, you can. That's fine. I'm going to start working on the paperwork there, and we'll go from there. So it's good seeing you. Take care.
Bye. Wow. Hi, Josh.
Dr. Shoffey.
Yeah.
Oh, so exciting.
Oh, I see Jeremiah, you're on. Josh is on. My sons are on. Oh,
Yeah.
my 3 sons. Alex,
There we go.
John, Jeremiah, Joshua, they're all on. That's great, Carrie. Bob was so sweet. He teared up.
I know. It's been a long, intense experience for you,
Yeah.
and you just come out shining at every turn.
That was so good.
Was it better than yesterday?
Yes. And yesterday was an A, so I guess today would have to be an A+.
Well, thank you everybody so much for coming and participating in my dissertation. It means so much to me that everybody, people here, the people online, I appreciate everybody's support, and I couldn't have done it without everybody's support, helping push me forward. When I felt tired, you keep on going. So I thank every one of you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna
You made us proud.
thank you everybody, and have a great day. Bye. Wow.
I told you.
Wow.
Dr. Shoffey.
What's up, Doc? You got it. You got it.
I'm Dr. Shoffey.
You Dr. Shoffey. Congratulations.
Hi.
My name's Todd.
Hi.
Yeah?
What's your name?
Kate.
Kate.
I started crying.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you guys.
Oh,
Dude, that's easy.
all that